Well, this day was bound to come where we finally get our first snow. It's changed over to rain at the moment, but earlier today you could definitely see it in the sky. In fact, these are the lowest temperatures we've seen so far this year. So we're definitely curious about how the dome is going to respond inside while it is snowing and cold on the outside. It's changed over to rain at the moment, so it's just really wet and really cold. It's only 38 degrees outside. But I know folks are wanting to see what is going on in the dome. How are things holding up in there? So let's go take a walk and check it out. We did install a new weather station up along the retaining wall. Got the ambient weather station because you can connect up to 8 different sensors, and it also has an app so I could monitor and track temperatures and everything on my phone. So I was addicted right away naturally, and as soon as the temperatures started dropping, I was checking out to see what sensor one dome probe was doing, which it was, a 23 degree difference. And the next morning, after an entire day of rain and temperatures in the 30s, the low was 34.5 and the dome was 53.8. So it was a huge relief to me to see that 20-degree difference even after an entire day of rain. And the most interesting was after the sun was out for 1 hour, the temperatures increased inside the dome to 64.8. Temperature probes and weather stations are one thing, but what does it really look like? All right. So the fish pump isn't running right now because I had to pull the plugs in so I could close this door fully, and that's why there's no extension cords. So the temperature probe here showing 63 degrees in here. Kind of interesting because it is 38 degrees outside. The gap fans over here, that's also unplugged because I wanted to keep that door as tight as possible without letting in any cold air. So it did get down to 54 in here, but back up to 63 now. It's been raining all day. The sun hasn't even come out, but I think the sun being up in the sky has raised the temperature 9 degrees since this morning. Now, how about the pond temperature? Let's check that out. The pond temperature is always very steady, but I'm curious after a really cold night if it's changed much at all. And we're seeing here 66. So that is pretty much in line with what I've been seeing for the past month. And this is officially the coldest it has been here at our house. It's very encouraging that the dome held its temperature above 50 degrees. It only got down to 55, but we still need more data. We need to know what the dome will do if it's 25 overnight. We need to know what the dome's going to do if we don't have sun for a couple of days. Because I think we are getting a little bit of warming in here because the sun is, it is daytime, and even though it's raining, there's still a little bit of radiation coming through. So we are getting, the temperature did go up 9 degrees from this morning. So we definitely have a lot more to monitor, and we need to get our gap fan completely automated. There is a thermostat. I do have an app that can run it. I can set it so it'll come on at a certain temperature. So that's something I'm going to put into place once we get this fully powered with solar. I think we're going to be okay without plugging in the gap fan tonight. Like I said, it's a repeat of last night. It's already 64 in here, so probably get down to 55 again tomorrow. And then the temperatures tomorrow warm up and the sun comes back out. So it's definitely fun to see the first cold snap, to see how the dome has handled things. The plants definitely look happy. Nothing is overheated or wilted from excessive heat in the 100-degree range. But I'm definitely glad we got that weather station this week, and I can add more sensors. It can support up to 8 additional sensors. So yeah, definitely thinking about other probes, maybe adding another one further down inside the GAT tube to sort of measure what the air is at the bottom. In fact, I could probably do it on this big tall one right here. So this probe, which I placed here, has a 10-foot line. So I could drop that down into the GAT just to see what the air is down there. Let's do it. So since the fan isn't running, I'm going to actually drop this probe down to the tube just to see if I can catch a measurement of what the air is a little lower in our system. This is a 10-foot probe. All right, so interestingly, it's a 0.5 degree cooler It's a half a degree cooler. It's 61.9 at the bottom of the gut. So that's kind of interesting to know. So if it ever got down to like under 50 degrees, we could run the gut and that might be able to bring it up a little bit. Of course, this doesn't really take into account the air that's deep down on the second layer and the very first layer of the whole climate battery. So kind of interesting data right there. And I think that's it for monitoring. I'm going to close up the door again and retain this heat. And hopefully we can make it through another night, keeping everything really cozy. But even with the rain, it definitely does look pretty this time of year. You get a mix of that misty mountain fog and the rain and the yellow trees. It's not a terrible fall day. So one more thing I can do today on this chilly fall day, it's actually perfect for topping off the bee feeders. So I am continuing to feed them right now. Until we get deep into the winter months, the bees are not yet hibernating, aka in a state of torpor. That means that they're basically huddling to make it through the winter over a portion of honey in the hive. But they're not in a full state of that torpor or hibernation yet, so I have to continue to feed them. And the mistake I made, I think about 3 years ago when I lost my hives, was that I did not top off the hives in October. We had a very warm fall, like we are having again. And I had finished feeding my bees and I took the feeders off in October, but they really needed to be fed into November because there's pretty much nothing for them to forage on. There's absolutely no nectar. Everything's dried up. They can probably forage some pollen, but I'm just feeding them sugar water. It's the extra thick 2-to-1 ratio, and hopefully this will be enough for them to make it through winter and be really strong for spring. Normally I don't open up the hives if it's really cold outside, but I'm not getting all the way in. I'm just tipping up the lid to pour some actually hot syrup into the top feeder, so I'm not letting out all the heat, actually introducing a little bit of heat. So they'll have plenty to forage on when it warms up in the next coming days. But we're almost all the way ready for winter here on the homestead. Definitely stay tuned to the next video as we kind of get our solar operation going on the greenhouse, and we'll continue to monitor how it performs over the winter.